Imagine my joy when I'm sitting here with two different avenues. I couldn't decide which way to go this week, and I get a message saying, hey, I listened to something and it was on this verse in Ecclesiastes. And I'm like, well, how interesting, that was one of the two. So I'm like, thank you, God, for that answer. And I knew immediately that we were going to be doing this verse. So Ecclesiastes 4 verse 12, it's a chord of, it's supposed to say 3 of the stands. That's 3 strands, so it's not the stands. Apparently my computer went deer hunting and is out there in the stand, so disregard that. So we're going to break this verse down into 3 separate chunks. The first part of this verse says in the Message, by yourself, you are unprotected. I sat with that, thinking of that as I'm like, where is this going to go? And the whole flow and direction of it. And I just started thinking about my life. And then that led into the story of like my husband and so many other people. And I've heard time after time after time, people are like, I tried to do it alone for so long. You know, I did it myself and it didn't work, and it got worse and worse and worse. And then it's the isolation and the depression and the no support. And it seems it's a never-ending cycle of I fall down, claw my way back up, manage to go a bit, and then I fall down again. And often when you find yourself in those seasons, when you look around, you might find you're walking that path alone. And some people say, oh, but, well, I go to meetings and I do this and I'm around people, so I'm not alone. And I'm like, well, maybe not physically alone, but figuratively, you're very much alone. Are you plugged in to the people that you're around? Do you actively engage with people? Do you seek people out, or do you have that? I'll just ask you, has anybody here ever heard people say, well, my pathway is I'm strong enough, I did it myself?
Once or twice.
Yes.
I did it my way.
Yes. And it's usually like, oh, I didn't like the meeting. That wasn't for me. Strong enough, I can do this myself. And every time inside, I want to weep. I don't care how strong you are. I really don't care how strong you are. There is nobody that can do it yourself. I don't care how you're wired, how you're bent, what your personality is. If you like to be solitary, bring it all to me, and I'm still going to tell you, you weren't created to do it yourself. And the louder you get, I can do it myself. I can do it myself. Just think that pedestal is just getting a little higher, a little higher, a little higher, and I promise you the fall's going to come and it's going to be hard. There is nothing to buffer against the attacks that come. There isn't another voice to encourage you and lift you up. It's just yours. So now you're alone with your thoughts, with your life, with the difficulties, with the hardship, and guess who you're bouncing it off? Yourself. I did that for years. For years, all kinds of people were always around me. I was always busy with people, going away with people, going out with people, having fun with people, working with people. I was always around people. I went home and had 6 kids. I was always around people. But I was so fiercely stubborn in doing life by myself. I didn't ask for help. My phone didn't even weigh 500 pounds. It might have been 10,000 pounds. I wasn't picking it up to call anybody. Nobody knew what was going on in my life. I didn't reach out when life really flattened me. I can do it myself. You just power through like I did before. Over and over and over again, you find yourself in that cycle of falling down, try to stand back up and keep going. But I found that every time, my pathway was never going this way. It was just always going down. You truly are unprotected. How do you stand against life storms alone? You're facing forward. What if things come from behind or beside? You turn to look that way, who's got your front? You can't do it alone. Nobody can do life alone in any way. This verse is so often used in weddings. This three-stranded thing, the bride, the groom, and God. I'm not approaching it that way. Think of that first strand as yourself. And think of yourself going alone through life with nobody to help you and support you in the journey and path that you have before you. Nobody that knows your trials and difficulties. They might not even know your celebrations, but we tend to share those. But we reserve for ourselves those things that we just don't really want people to know. Or, yeah, but this group of people, they're not like that and they wouldn't understand, so I can't say anything. And that kind of hurts my heart. Because you're sitting in there, that single strand, all by yourself, and you have people around you that could be helpful to you, but you feel like, I can't share. So you need to ask yourself in those scenarios, why? What is it about this group that you can't share openly? Hey, you know what? I have this struggle and it's really hard right now. Can you help me with this? What is it that makes you feel like you can't share that? I've asked myself that before about different scenarios. I'm like, well, when I was hanging out with this particular two females, one was a coworker and another one worked at a hospital. We got to know each other and we used to go out, for drinks after work. I'm like, why didn't I share with them? They openly shared with me, but closed mouth. I didn't want them to think worse of me. Their life looks different than mine does. They won't understand. I want to be included. All the things. So I kept my mouth shut. And that just was always, 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 always in my life. And I'm telling you, if you're on a life journey and you're that person that says, I really don't need that. I don't need the group. I don't need that sponsor. I don't need an accountability person. I don't even need anybody to be fully open about everything with. I'm like, come and talk with me because you do. Because we all do. And then some people say, it's like, oh, well, I'll just pray about it and that's fine. I don't need anybody. And I'm just gently going to say, but God created you for connection, and especially connection to the family that he put us in. And I'm not talking about blood family when I say that. We're family in God. Brothers and sisters, and in that kind of family, that's a family that should be built and equipped to carry everything alongside people. We're wired for that, or we should be. So if you're with people that leave you feeling, I just can't be honest about who I am and what I'm dealing with, ask yourself why you continue to sit with people. Is it truly that you can't share that with them because it wouldn't be handled well or used against you? Or is it our ego that gets in the way and thinks we're something pretty special and nobody could possibly understand and this is just too big? Because that was my issue. That was an ego thing that I had to deal with. I'm unique and special. And my friend Dave here always reminds me how not unique we all are. We're not. I'm not beyond God's ability. I'm not beyond the ability of Jesus. I'm just as covered by what he did as anybody else. So for me to think that my stuff is too much is kind of ego-y. But we need to seek out community that we can be real with. This means being accountable to yourself in that choice to show up, accountable to self. We can often sit and acknowledge, we'll use me and my drinking. I could have chosen on January 1, almost 2 years ago, to say, yeah, my drinking really it's kind of a problem and I should probably address it. I don't think it's that much of a problem, but maybe I should address it. I do kind of binge drink and I get really drunk and I do sometimes forget. So it's a problem. So I need to work on that. Do I show up to do that work or do I just talk about it? Accountability to self means not just acknowledging the work that has to be done, but I'm making the choice to show up to do the work that has to be done. And in part of this 3-stranded rope that we're going to be talking about, part of that means acknowledging the fact I can't do this alone. And that means you have to open up and let somebody or others in your space. And we often don't like to do that very much. But we need to be people that our word means something. Not just to the other people that may hear it, but to us also. You have to show up for yourself. God sees you as worthy. You need to see yourself as worthy. But part of this also means when we talk about this 3-stranded rope, you can't look for your community. And then the 3rd strand that we're going to talk about, you can't look for those because you want them to do all the support of you. You have to show up strong and ready to be that for others also. That means you have to work on your foundation. You have to look in the mirror and look objectively at the things that this is something in my life that I need to work on and change. And then you have to show up and do that. Yes, even when it's hard and when it's yucky. Trust me, I argue a lot with that. It's like, I don't want to deal with this character flaw today. It'll still be there tomorrow. I'll deal with it then. Well, tomorrow's not promised. I had a job that showed me that every single day. You know, making the call, I'm sorry, there was nothing I could do. That person woke up that morning expecting a day just like any other. They didn't make plans that their life was going to end that day. Be intentional when you speak over your life and yourself. When you face these things, don't just say it to say it, but say it because you're recognizing I need to work on this so I can be strong. And then the verse goes on and says, with a friend, you can face the worst. I love so much how the Message version phrases this because it takes us kind of out of that, traditional church mindset of looking at this verse as a marriage verse, because I like very much the broader context of this. We're now adding that 2nd strand into our life. You're getting stronger. 2-stranded rope is stronger than a single-stranded rope, correct? There's going to be more strength in that. Why? Because you've got somebody pulling the weight with you or carrying that weight. Whether it's a spouse, a friend, a family member, or your community. Blood related or not blood related, it doesn't matter. But what matters is that you actively pursue community and support that is like-minded in understanding of the direction that you're going, and eagerly seeks to be involved in going that direction with you. These are the people that can be the good advice in the storm. These are the people that sit with you in the hardest of times that you face. These are the people that are first to celebrate your wins, even if their life is some losses right now. These are also the people that aren't afraid to have hard conversations with you because they love you enough to do that. And we need to welcome that into our life. I used to avoid it like the plague because I took constructive criticism as ripping me to shreds and saying I'm horrible, a failure. It's the only way I saw it, and that wasn't what was meant. I now recognize when my husband says, hey, can I talk to you about something, and point something out, I used to get so prickly, and I will go there. I was immediately on edge, and I'm ready to retort right back at him. How dare you? But I was upset because he was right. No. But those are important things. These are people that care enough about you to say, but you told me this is what you want, and this is your plan and your direction. This is what you're working on. This doesn't help you get there. This is going to make things harder. I don't know if you have considered or if you have noticed this, but can I talk to you about it? If you have friends or people in your life that are willing to do that, tell them thank you. But in return, you have to be a friend willing to do the same. These are the friends that aren't going to run when things get hard and bumpy. These are the friends that even if you fall flat on your face in the biggest, most humiliating public spectacle of your entire life, they're going to stand at your side and walk through it with you. They're not going to care what people might say, that they're with you. They are there because they care about you. But are you willing to do the same? Would you be there in the same way for other people? Even if it meant other people might look at you saying, what are you doing with that person? You know what they did? We all know what they did. Did you see that? Can you believe it? And you're hanging out with them, you're friends with them? Yeah. Yeah, that's my friend. And I love them. Yeah, I know it all. I know everything they've done. Standing with them. We all need that in life. We need people we need the wisdom that other people bring into our life, because we become people that view life in one lens, and that's our own. And that lens is colored by our experiences, by our choices, by the events that have happened to us, the situations that we're in. It causes us to see life in a certain way. But what happens if you only see it your way? How often do we misinterpret things? How often do we miss seeing the blessings in hardship? How often do we find, oh boy, I was completely wrong and I read that wrong. I misunderstood the situation, but we can be so into it that we can veer off into a direction we never had to go. When you're in community and you're closely with people that you communicate with frequently, things like that don't happen nearly as often, because they're a reminder, hey, step outside, let's look at it from this side. Have you considered this? Have you considered seeing it that way? Because we talk all the time that when we're going through the worst, that's often one of the biggest lessons that God's going to bring to our life. So look for people that are going to walk through that with you and help you to see what God is working through that. Because when we're walking the storm alone, we tend to just be head down and hunkered in, and we're not noticing anything but this awful storm. Think of the friend as the one that brings along the umbrella, and now at least the storm is still raging, but we're in a shelter, and your friend is like that. Your community is like that. Your relationship is like that. You're stronger in life, but still, just two people can get pretty beat up and banged up by life if those two are just going it alone. It's just you and community. We have so much of a need for a third strand. Two can still unravel very easily. Can fray easily. Weight start to get too much for it. It's still strong, but it's not what it can be. We need the support from the people in our lives. We need the power of our community because we need people to know us so we can get to where God is leading us. He put the people in your life for that reason. He didn't put us in a community of people to be separated and to do it by ourselves. He expects you to plug in and get the support from them. But can you round up a third? Because a three-stranded rope, now that rope, that's not easily snapped. And that's proven. A lot of people have also used the analogy of a stool. What good is a stool with one leg? Not a lot of good. You're not going to be sitting on that real easily. It'd be a balance. It might be a good core workout, but you're going to fall. What about two legs? It's a little easier to balance, but you still got to work on it, right? And how long before that comes out from under you? But what happens when you add that third? Do you have a solid foundation? Yeah. The way I see it, when we've added that third, God, is there anything stronger that you can wrap the two cords that you've brought in, yourself and community? Honestly, the older I get and the more I do what I do, I am at an absolute loss how people do life without faith and without God. I just don't know how I would manage that. Robert and I were a good team. We are a strong team. Me by myself and Robert by himself are not nearly as strong as Robert and I together as a team. We're a wonderful team. But the reason for that is because God is our foundation. Because we have made the decision that that was going to be our main rope. And that's the one we're going to tie ourselves to. It's not fitting God around us, it's us to God. Because God's never going to break. Why wouldn't you attach yourself to that? But it's why it's so important that the person or the people or the community that you are with, you need to be like-minded. That unequally yoked, that's not just a marriage thing. Think of that as a life thing. What are your friends' foundations? What are they built on? Because if yours is God and theirs is not, you can't join yourself to God to have that three-stranded cord that won't break. It's not going to happen. Yeah, George and Henry agree with that. I don't care how good you tell me a relationship is. Oh, this is the one. It's just beautiful. It's amazing. I know this is right for me. I know that you professed that you were God's. I know that you publicly said yes to Jesus. And I know that the person that you love and is the one is not. That's not a blessed relationship. Right out of the gates, it's not a blessed relationship. How can it be? Because blessings come from God. And those who reject God or are not built in Him do not carry with them blessings. You don't have a strong three-stranded rope being unequally yoked. That's in relationship, whether it be intimate spouse relationship, friends, or community. If that second strand does not have the same foundation that you have in God, it's not going to work. I have friends that are dear to me who do not share my faith, and that breaks my heart. I love them dearly. Doesn't mean I don't spend time with them and enjoy it. I do. But we're never going to be that unbreakable cord together because you simply don't have the unbreakable aspect. Your life is built on something that is going to just get washed away in the storm. I'm going to continue to love them and spend time with them and be around them because I want them to be interested in my foundation. I would love to share that with everybody, but I can't force it on them. You also can't say, I'll worry about that later. But I love them, or that's my best friend, or this is a great community, and maybe in time I can talk to them about my faith. You don't build this three-stranded rope after the fact. This is something that's done intentionally. I find it, I don't even know why God would want to be connected to us in that way. Like truly the one carrying all the weight, the one that gives the cords that we bring to that strength, because outside of Him we don't. They're going to break and they're going to snap. Just like I'm not going to say recovered person, the sober person. I can do it all by myself. I don't need this. I just don't need this group. I don't need this community. I don't need anybody. I got it in me. It's in me to do it all by myself. Oh, no, it's not. You got it in you to have a great fall. It doesn't have to be that way. But if you approach life in that do-it-myself attitude, and then you join yourself to like-minded people that have the do-it-yourself attitude, you don't need anything else. Higher power? Pfft, I don't need no higher power. I am my higher power. Oh, that's great. Okay, do you know what you're saying? Yep. I am my higher power. I don't need anybody above. I am my higher power. Oh. And then when you seek out community that believes the same or feeds that in you, God's not present in that three-stranded cord. That third strand, who would that be? If it's not God, who is it? It's that simple. And I wish it wasn't. It's Satan. If it isn't God, it is Satan. Because he's certainly going to be eager to say, of course you can do it by yourself. Who are they to tell you you can't do it? What? You've been doing it by yourself this whole time. You're not dead. You're still doing it. Look at that. You're saying the right things. You don't need a higher power. And when I hear that, everything in me is like, you do know that Satan believes in God, right? Satan absolutely believes in God. No doubt about it. Knows exactly who he is and what he's capable of. He doesn't believe that higher power nonsense. He knows who the higher power is. But he's already lost, so you think he's not going to willfully take you with you? In the easiest way is right up here. You don't need that. It's invisible. God, who's God? Can you see him? Where is he? And when you're already questioning and you're already in a community that has that I can do it myself attitude, it gets harder and harder to see God is real. And there's a win. You have a 3-stranded rope with the devil solidly entwined in there. But God, when you wrap yourself around God and then in a community that also has done the same, you're going to find your way. It might get really, really heavy. It will get heavy. Because when you wrap yourself around God, guess who you've become a really worthy adversary to? So we so often say, yeah, well, I tried the God thing and then all these bad things happened. Count that as a win. Bad things? Mm-hmm. Count it as a win.
You have to be stronger in God because the devil attacks you more.
Because he sees you as an adversary. Because you're not wrapped around the devil. You've actively chosen the one who defeated him. He's not going to waste time on people he already has. But those that he doesn't, those who grow closer to God, who incorporate others, and now they're firmly wrapped and going through life that way, that's an adversary. Because where 2 or 3 are gathered, who's present?
Jesus.
I am there. And our adversary is someone who is a believer and knows scriptures even more than we do. Our adversary was present in heaven with God at the very beginning before he was thrown out. So everything we know about God pales in comparison to what he knows. But when we have joined ourselves to God and to community, don't be discouraged when it's hard. And that's why God's plan the whole time was never to go it alone. Because if it's just you wrapped around that God strand, does that make you an easier target for the attacks coming at you? It does. It does, and God knows that. There's a reason God gives us analogies that we can picture in our mind. Like, well, yeah, I can see that whole, it is stronger. Of course, that makes all kinds of sense. And it's why he does it. He understands our minds. But God knows fully that when we make the choice to do that, attacks are going to happen. And the people that are going it alone, I can do it myself, and kind of have this, yeah, I believe in God. Those attacks, they're not going to make it through. They're going to fall. The relapses happen. The giving up happens. The completely, well, I said, I did all this stuff right, and all these bad things happen, and God. Because that's where your mind goes when the hard stuff comes, but I'm doing it right, all by myself. It was hard for me to let go of but I can do it myself, because that was a pride thing in me. I'm strong. I've been through hard things. I'm going to do this myself. I'm not going to share because I was trying to build an artificial life that looked good to people looking at it. There's only so much you can do with a single strand of cord.
What happens if you show somebody Jesus and you talk to them about Christ and then they decide that they just don't want it? What do?
There's
you walk away from them?
Sometimes you don't have to walk away from them, but if they choose that they don't want God in their life, that is on them. We can't make somebody, trust me, I wish that we could, because I would walk around making everybody choose Jesus. If I had that power, I would just be the happiest little, and you get Jesus, and you get Jesus, and you get Jesus. I wish it worked that way, but it's a personal choice. We have free will. And God said, I died for everybody. I love all of you, but you just have to choose my son. And if people choose not to, it's not that we have to walk away and never talk to them, but we have to allow them to make their decision, as much as it hurts, but still love them.
And pray for them.
Love them and pray for them, because what better thing than bringing them to God? Bring them right to God. God loves them. We don't have to abandon them and walk away because they don't believe like us. We can stay around and show them love, because that's how they can maybe learn who Jesus is, and maybe someday they'll be interested, but it's hard. It's very hard. I have people that I dearly wish would say, you know what, I want to know Jesus. Yeah.
It's hard when you got family members.
It's very hard. It is very hard. It is. And that's just a beautiful example of why don't join yourself to somebody who doesn't share your faith. And I'm talking especially in close relationships, whether it's marriage or whether it's friendship. I have, like I said, I have friends who are not believers, but my closest inner circle are solidly in God, because I've recognized I have to keep them closest. Relationships I've had in the past, though, I've been married before. They weren't believers. They said they were. They weren't. I was unequally yoked. It didn't matter what I did to make things better. It didn't get better. You can't carry the weight for somebody else and be a three-stranded rope. Everybody is there because they're carrying their weight. Don't let pride get in the way of the best that life has to offer. Pride being, I can do this myself. I'm not going to share this because I want to look good. And I'm saying that because for me, that's what it was. My refusing to share the reality of my life is because I want to look good. I want you to look at me and see somebody who's got it all put together. Okay, live a lie. Yep, that's firmly founded in God. Living a lie, because it's all perception, right? As long as they think I have it all together, that's all that matters. I was a single-stranded fraying rope, living life that way. Still carrying the weight, but can you picture that rope just fraying and getting thinner and weaker as life goes on? But you're like, it's still carrying the weight. Look at that. And everybody else is like, it's hanging by a string. Girl, it's going to break. No, I'm still carrying it, though. I don't need anybody. It broke. It broke. And what did I do? God, why? I got angry. Why? You could have fixed this. Why does this always happen to me? Well, if I wouldn't insist on carrying things with my little frayed rope, maybe this wouldn't happen all the time. Maybe if people really knew me and cared about me and loved me enough to have said the hard conversations to me, my rope wouldn't have been frayed like that. And that's hard for me to sit with and acknowledge. All those people around me, and not a single one cared enough about me to talk to me about things that clearly needed to be discussed. My drinking. And the time that took away from home. Because, pat on the back, I don't drink in front of my kids. If only I could stand in front of myself and have a conversation, but yeah, that was a single-stranded rope, fraying and fraying and fraying and fraying. Then I surrounded myself with a whole bunch of other frayed ropes. So it kind of went together, was kind of strongish for a bit, but a bunch of frayed ropes together, boing, boing, boing. I mean, you can just picture all those strands popping and breaking as that weight is being carried. And pretty soon that one drops off and that one drops. Well, there I am all by myself again. And God, I can't believe this happened to me again. Can't believe this is my life. Like I'm talking about, like going, oh my goodness. But that was truly what it was like. Doing it myself, surrounding my life with people who didn't know God at all, outside of being able to say the words, but live it. Absolutely not. Don't want to stand out and look weird like that. And then I never knew the reality of this until my life now, because my life is a solidly strong 3-stranded cord. I am firmly designed and put together and in relationship with God. I seek Him in a way I never had. So my strand of rope that I bring is strong because I found it in God. So there's God and there's me and I have my husband. So there's that rope. In that aspect of my life, solidly strong because it's founded in God. But I add to my rope, I have this community and friends in my life that are beautifully strong and founded in the same faith that I have, that are founded in recovery like I am, that support and love me and everybody else around them in exactly the way that we need to. I have people in my life willing to have hard conversations with me or willing to sit and listen to anything I may have to bring. And over it all, through it all, think of it as the core is God. Yeah, hard things happen. Some of it visibly that you've watched. We've had some battering. There's a lot more behind the scenes. But guess what isn't frayed and breaking? I'm not. Because for the first time in my life, I'm not doing it alone. Because I humbled myself to open up and share openly everything there is to me. Because I looked directly in the mirror and said, God, I've really been doing this so wrong. I have to get my ego out of the way. I need to humble myself. I need to be open and transparent with my community so I am fully known. Because if I am not fully known and transparent, how can my community support me and love me? And it's what I tell people all the time when they're like, I'm so sorry to dump on you. I'm so sorry for this. Or I'm sorry, I know you're already busy. Or. Please don't. If you don't bring me your real, how in the world am I going to know how to support you and love you? How in the world am I going to know how to wrap your cord into the cord with me and God? I need to know exactly where you're at and how you're doing. The very first picture I took, the cords all look different. It's what we bring to the table. Think of God, have you ever seen those massive ropes that tie those giant ships to a pier? Those things are huge. Think of that like that's God. Nothing's going to move that ship. So it doesn't matter what we bring to him. That's what we're joining. And we're combining with that. Some of us might be further on our way, and we've got a pretty good looking rope. Not God rope. But then others of us, we might be a little frazzled. We might have some thin spots. We might be wearing thin or breaking in some places. But what happens when you join that? You're not broken anymore. You're not worn thin in those spaces because those are covered by friend, companion, community, and above all, God. I promise you, when you root yourself and find yourself in God, it's going to be hard. Not 24/7, I'm not saying that. But I am saying if you think then that it's going to get smooth and easy and I'm fully healed and everything is great, no, because we still have to live this life here. Because the devil doesn't want to be the only one where he's already going. He's going to bring as many as he can take, and he's going to take a lot, and that's heartbreaking to me. A life lived in eternity completely absent of anything that is God. Because all you have to do is list the attributes of God. It's how we started this church. Peace, love, joy, all those things, the fruit of the Spirit, those are attributes of God. Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, self-control, perseverance, all the things. What are the opposite of those things?
Evil.
That's eternity for people who don't believe. You get what you pick. The opposite of love, like that just gives me chills. The opposite of peace, the opposite of joy, the opposite of gentleness, the opposite of patience, the opposite of kindness. Like, can you imagine? Sometimes we do because we often feel like, well, that's the world we live in. But God is present in this broken world. For those that don't choose the right cord, the right rope to join to, eternity is going to be everything that God is not. It's the only way I can wrap my head around the idea of heaven and hell, because we don't know what it looks like. The Bible gives these glorious, beautiful descriptions and word pictures, and there are some people, and maybe we'll get there and find out that we literally are going to live in an emerald house and literal gold streets. There are people that believe that. I don't, but there are some that do. It's not a salvation thing. We just don't know. But one thing that I am sure of, heaven will be only God and nothing that's not. And hell will be everything that is not God and nothing that is. God is light. I can't imagine the darkness that exists absent him. I can't. And I don't care how strong you think your rope is. If God is not at the center of it, that rope is going to crash and burn. It won't hold up. I don't care how many fancy knots you have, but look at it. It's so good. I promise you, it's not going to hold up. So we need to be mindful. We can't go to the extreme of saying, well, I just can't, be friends with you because, you don't believe in God. So sorry, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying those people that we bring into our life, let's start with the marriage relationship. If you are dating or considering those types of relationships, if God is not going to be at the center of it, stop it now. There is no bigger hell on earth than being unequally yoked with somebody who doesn't believe. You can't convince me otherwise. But then your friends, your core group of people have to share your foundation. They have to be founded in God for you to be strong and manage this life in the way God calls you to. But not at the expense of loving everyone. It doesn't mean, well, you can't sit with me because I'm not saying that either, and I don't want you to ever think that I am. I'm talking about your inner circle, those closest to you, the ones you go to for advice. Because is your best advice going to come from people who know God or don't know God? It's going to be those who know God. So why would you go to people who deny him and want nothing to do with him for your life's directions? It's not going to work. If God is unimportant to somebody, you can't make them most important to you, because God has to be your everything. How can you live in relationship, close relationship with somebody who actively chooses to deny that which is the foundation of your life? How do you build a home on that? What does your foundation look like? Part rock, part sand? How's that house going to stand up? At least half of it's going to get washed away right away, and what good is the remaining part that's sitting on a rock? It's ripped wide open. I tried really hard to make relationships like that work, to be good, to be amazing. That worked about as well as you'd imagine, because I'm married to this man here. And I look back and I'm like, oh. In my ego-driven, selfish life, I didn't want to wait for God. So we make it happen ourselves. And that goes back to that doing life alone thing. That's why having the right people in your life to help keep you from those decisions that impact your life so negatively, because it didn't just affect me. Those relationships with the wrong people affected my kids too. In their life, and then out of their life. In their life, then out of their life. And those kids go on those roller coaster rides right along with. It wasn't what I wanted for my kids. It's just the life that I ended up choosing. Not the life I wanted, but it's the life I chose because I was too impatient to wait. Because I didn't trust God enough to not help him. Here, God, I know you're busy. There's a lot of people on this planet. I have a plan, so I'll just go ahead with that one, and you don't have to worry about it. Thank you. I know. I was like, I can imagine God just going, oh, this one. I love her. I love her. It's going to be okay in the end, but she's got some lessons to learn. The angels assigned to me, they had to get battle ready every day, because this one, this one was determined to go it alone in life for a long time. And how blessed am I that I had a God that pursued me relentlessly. So if you're in that stage of life where it's I'm doing it myself, God is pursuing you relentlessly to bring you back, not to be by yourself, but remember the 99. He's not bringing you back to be alone. He's bringing you back to your flock. I'm really grateful he didn't give up. I'm grateful for the places he was willing to chase me. The places I've walked into and sat, and he sat right next to me and said, "This one's mine." Even though I didn't choose him. I'm grateful that I chose this verse because it's such a reminder to myself that who you surround yourself in those core relationships matter a great deal. That it's those people that are going to weather the storms with you because you are not going to break because God's at the center of it. So the challenge is to look at it this way. Who is my foundation? Who is my partner's foundation? Who is my friend's foundation? Who is my community's foundation? And we have to face hard things if it's not God. We can't make them our foundation. And that's really hard, especially if you're already in relationship. Because what does that mean? For some, it means the relationship isn't going to make it because you're not willing to go down the road absent God. And I truly hope that you always make that decision not to go without God. Because it's incredibly difficult to walk away from someone we love, friends we may have had forever. And I'm not talking walk away forever, but that close bond. A community that we have to acknowledge, you know what, this isn't best for me. Those are hard things to do because we're comfortable with them. But what we have waiting for us is worth doing this to the best of our ability now. Because not choosing God means we're not going to be with him in eternity. It means we don't have the luxury of playing around and saying, I have enough faith, though. It's okay if I willfully choose to be with somebody who hates God. Why would you bring that into your home? Do you know the warfare that's going to be in your home 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because it's light and dark existing together? It's a constant war in your home. Life is already hard enough. Those relationships won't make it. Or if they do, how many of us have seen that couple, they've been married for 60 years and it's obvious they hate each other, but we did the right thing and stayed married. Yay. Yay, God's so pleased. You hate each other. You have nothing in common. You spend no time together. You're not interested in each other. Bickering, fighting, arguing, complaining. You look at your spouse with just contempt and frustration and irritation and sometimes even hate. But at least I didn't get divorced. God doesn't give you a pat on the back for relationships like that. And sometimes it's held up that way. You said I do, that's forever. Not if you're married to the devil. And I said it. Not if you're yoked to the devil. Because would God yoke you to the devil? No, because he called us not to be. Relationships that I picked with people who chose Satan were not God put together relationships. The friends that I hung out with absolutely did not choose God. Those weren't God put together relationships. It is infinitely better. Just 1 second. Infinitely better. Saying, God, I'm going to trust you. I'm going to use wisdom and discernment, and I'm going to know people, and I'm going to be careful with who is allowed close access to me because I need them to love you like I love you. Because I'm going to need their wisdom, and I'm going to need their advice, and I need to know that you bless it. And that means I've had to walk away from some. It means I had to change how I interacted with some of my kids who have chosen yet to not really choose God. Because I found out that I had tightly woven my life around them. Do you know how hard that is to unravel yourself from your kids? And say, I am here when you open that door. But I will not tie myself to your life because of the way you're living and the way you're hating. I love you, child. I love you. But I'm not wrapping my cord around yours because yours isn't around God right now. As a parent, that's heartbreaking. So we hand them to God. Say, God, I love them, but I know you love them more. And then allow him to work. But Sheila, you had something. What did you want to say?
What?
You had something you wanted to say.
What do you do when somebody gets baptized? They want to be saved and they get baptized, but they don't go to church ever after they did it. They don't even read the Bible or anything after getting baptized. What was the point?
That's the Bible talks about that. And the hard things in that is that it is my hope that they return fully, because there is harsh judgment for those who say they know God and choose God and then walk away. They get judged more harshly than those who didn't know to begin with. And the Bible talks about that.
No, I don't want to judge a person that's a friend of mine. I want to see him walk with God.
Yeah, I know.
What his intention.
I know.
Smart as a whip on the Bible. Smart as a whip on it. But we'll not go back to church.
Yep. So here's the thing. You don't have to sit inside the walls of a building to get to heaven.
Amen.
Because God is everywhere. And when Jesus died on the cross and defeated hell, what that meant is we're no longer under the law as it was before. They had to and required to go to the temple. Before Jesus died on the cross for all of us, people that believed in God had to go to a priest and sacrifice for sins. When Jesus died and covered all of that, we're no longer obligated to that because there's nothing to be covered. Jesus already has. We come to church on Sunday because we enjoy being with people who love God and we love to talk about Jesus. We don't come here because this is what saves us. These walls in this building have nothing to do with our salvation or going to heaven. God
So love
is
it just blew
everywhere.
my mind, you know, it was just it's mind blowing, you know, that he never went back again. It's like, hello.
Yeah, yes.
It hurt me.
Hope, but if he still knows God and talks to God and loves God,
Wrote the book on it.
you don't have to worry then.
He
Don't
knows
worry
it
so
very
much
well.
over it. Sitting in a pew isn't going to make you more saved.
Yeah.
And I know not a lot of people say that from up here, but I do. I recognize that every single one of us that chooses God is spirit-filled, and we are the church. God's church is living, breathing human beings. Wherever we are, God is, and there is church. And that's why we have to live our life the way that we're called to. So I'm just going to close with saying, examine your life regularly to see who is it that makes up the cord that my life is. Who's included in that? If it's yourself only, you got some work to do. If you look at it and say, well, it's them, but they don't know God at all, and I'm really not sure if I believe in God, your rope is kind of frayed and it's not going to hold up quite like you think it is. So I can promise you one thing. If you build that rope the way God has shown us, with the people that God directs us to, with God being at the center, it is unbreakable. It's absolutely unbreakable. And the reason it needs to be unbreakable is because the storms will come. You don't need a strong, unbreakable rope for a life that has no storms. Why? Nothing hard happens. It's easy peasy. Why do you need a strong rope to anchor yourself? You don't. But that rope is unbreakable because the storms will come. That's a given. Show me anybody in the Bible that didn't have difficulties happen. Who in the Bible had an easy peasy, perfect life? And here we are, still this far down the road saying, but why the storms? I got baptized. I love God. I'm doing the right thing. I stopped drinking. I stopped using. This, that, and the next thing. And all the storms. Job had a lot of storm come. And he was considered the most upright man. And God allowed it. Why? Because he knew his heart and because he knew he was his foundation. God knew he wasn't going to break. Those stories are in the Bible, so we know that that's true for us today, because everyone in here, I know for a fact, has storms and hard things in their life. I know that for a fact because I know every single one of you in this space. It makes me grateful for small church gatherings because we know each other. I know every single one of you has weathered storms and are going through storms and are facing hard things. And it's why I want to challenge you with make sure your rope is built correctly. And I can promise you it will be unbreakable in the storms. I promise you, you will get through it.